Hello YouTube, this is blinkycab, and it feels good to say that. Okay, so I'm here with the 2013 Kawasaki Ninja 300, and this is the replacement for the 250R. So it's not an additional line, it's the replacement line. So if you're looking for a 250R brand new nowadays, I mean, you'd be looking at last year's model. They're not going to make it anymore. You're going to be up for the 300. I'm just going to give a quick sort of Blinky's thoughts on it. I've only been riding it for about 20 minutes, but I can already sort of tell, you know, this isn't going to be a massively in-depth spec technical review. This is just going to be just my quick sort of thoughts on it. So let's have a quick look. So visually, I mean, what Kawasaki are trying to do, I think, are make their smaller engine bikes, the 250s the 300s look like a bigger bike. So I think if you look back at the old Ninjas, they just looked, you could tell they were smaller engine. You could tell they were sort of, you know, they didn't have that racy feel or look vibe to it. They just looked like a bike, like a learner bike, you know, which is what they are. But, you know, nowadays they certainly don't look it. Looking at the front here, they've got the angry eyes, which I think are straight off the ZX6R maybe. You know, I mean, the side mirror's in the same place. Everything else, other than the eyes there, look pretty standard issue. The fairings do look wider. Yeah, like the whole front half of it just looks angrier. Like even when you're sitting on it, you feel as though you've got this big sort of body in front of you. The fuel tank, they've certainly engineered it and crafted it to look more like one of the bigger brothers in the Ninja range. I don't know, just if you look at the 250R fuel tanks compared to this, you can just tell it has that look to it. Yeah. Like I said, this isn't going to be a proper review. This is just Blinky's thoughts. So the exhaust has changed. You know, it looks like it's straight off, once again, one of the ZX6Rs or even a 10R, which looks cool. The sound of it is a little different to the 250R. I've noticed. I mean, not drastically, but, you know, they have upped the change of the exhaust a bit. I know a lot of people that bought the 250Rs, they went and got Yoshimura exhaust because everyone hated the stock Ninja 250R exhaust. But, I mean, this one here doesn't sound too bad, and it certainly looks the part. A lot of people don't like the newer exhaust, but I do. I do quite like it. Other than that, I mean, the instrument cluster is really the last change. All the controls and everything are in the same spot. The instrument cluster, they now have a digital speedometer here. It's got the fuel gauge and a clock on it. Let's fire this up. Very cool. The dial does the sort of setting as the larger bikes do, where the 250R never used to do that, just used to start up. It's fuel injected as well now, which is great. So as you can see here, yeah, you've got the speedo, the clock, the fuel, and the odometer. This bike's only done 6,500 Ks more or less, so it's practically brand new. You know, and you've got all the controls: neutral, oil, indicator, high beam, I would say. You must be able to flick through stuff here, but it's not my bike. I don't want to reset anything. I don't know what he's got going on, but yeah. So the owner of this bike is actually Sly Rider, and I'll throw the link up here. I only met him today for the first time when I went to grab the keys for the bike, and he seems like a pretty cool dude. So I mean, I've watched a few of his vids, and he seems cool on the vids, and he seems like a cool dude in person too. So check him out, subscribe to his channel, and yeah, I mean, let's have a quick little, let's fire this bad boy out. You know, so the starter's in the same position, right thumb, as it probably is on most bikes. Has that nice purr, you know, nice quick start. Other than that, I mean, riding it, okay, so that's like the aesthetic review. Let's do the actual review here. So I'll throw it into gear, and I'm where I did my how to ride a motorcycle video, if it looks familiar to some of you. So let's just sort of get a bit of a slow speed going. You can see the digital speedometer there ticking over. You know, one thing I've noticed, right, so being a 300, I mean, it's still a learner approved motorcycle, so you know, don't buy this and expect it to be able to keep up with like the big super sports. You know, it still is learner approved, but having that extra 50cc displacement, I have found the acceleration, like the torque, is definitely greater. I haven't taken it on the freeway to see if the high speed's much more or whatnot, But my Ninja 250R used to be able to get up to, you know, 150, 60. If it was a cold night, like 180, I think I maxed out. But I did see a video once of some guy having a 300 up to like 195 or something. So, I mean, the top speed's probably increased a little bit, but I would say the biggest change engine-wise feel would be the torque. The acceleration, it definitely feels like it has a lot more snappiness to it and a lot more bite. Even taking off from a red light, you know, giving it some gas and, you know, like it just fucking wants to move, you know. But being, you know, less than a super sport, once you start kicking through the gears, you know, you'll notice that you're not going to keep up with a ZX-10R or anything, but, you know, to get going, you know, definitely cycling through the first few gears, yeah, there's a lot of guns. There's actually a video that Sly Rider, it's a long story, Sly Rider, there's a video that he's got, I don't know if he wants me to shout this one out, mate, but he's on his bike, he's riding with a friend who also has a Ninja 300, and they're sort of doing acceleration runs. They're not breaking the speed limit, but they're just getting to the speed limit as quick as they can, and he certainly knows his bike, he knows how to take off very, very quickly, and it certainly, watch that video and you'll see what I mean by the acceleration improvement compared to a 250R. Now, that's just my own meandering opinion. If you looked up the specs, you know, the 0 to 60, 0 to 100 speed of the 250R and the 300, on paper, it's probably the same, you know, I don't know, but for a rider, feel-wise, who's ridden the 250R for a couple years and then is now on a 300, I don't know if I'm blinded because I haven't ridden a bike for 10 months or if genuinely this has got more pickup, but it fucking feels like it just wants to move if you want it to move, you know, so that's fucking awesome. You know, being on it too, like I said, the whole front of it just feels like you're on an angrier, meaner bike. Yeah, so fuel injection, the fucking screen here and everything, like it's all just a nice sort of modern change, you know. The 250Rs being carburetted and still having all of the, you know, dials and whatnot, it sort of made you feel like, yeah, you were on a new bike, but it didn't have the new bits and pieces that the newer, more expensive bikes did. Kawasaki's done a great job here upgrading this bike to, you know, meet the modern day 2013 standards at least. And I am happy that the revs here, the RPM dial is still a dial and not a digital readout. I saw a ZX-10R the other day and it had, it didn't have the dial. And I like the dial, you know, if you want to get your bike going and you're going to race through the gears and whatnot, you want to see that big hand just like, you know, that's like a personal thing. I don't want to see these lights like flicking up, I want to see the big dial. But having the speedo how it is awesome. There must be different settings because it says eco on there. Maybe even if you turn the eco off, maybe the cheap, you know, being fuel injected, you can sort of play around with like computer settings. So maybe there's an eco mode, maybe there's a super maniac mode that I don't know about. Maybe Sly Rider kept that on the sly. That's why they call him Sly Rider, because he's sly like that. Anyway, I don't know how long this video's going on for. I always wig out that I've been rambling, but look, that's blinkycab's quick review of the 300 compared to the 250R. If you're in the market still for a new bike, you know, the Ninja, I will always say the 250R, if you buy a second-hand one, you won't be up, you know, you will be very, very happy with the purchase of a Ninja 250R or even the brand new 300. You know, I feel like I'm on a 250R. It feels so familiar to the bike that I used to own, so it's definitely familiar territory there, and they've kept what am I trying to say? The position of the handlebars, like they're not too low, like some sports bikes are. Some people get sore wrists. The seating, like everything, like the whole rider comfort thing is still there. So I mean, yeah, definitely check it out. If you're in the market for one, go down to the dealership, sit on one, take it for a test ride. You'll be very pleased, and you know, you'll be pleased to feel the extra. I'm in second gear now, but even then, it still has some, you know, even a second gear, it still rips. So definitely check it out. And yeah, that's it. God damn, it's been a while. That's it for Blinky's review of the Ninja 300. Ciao.